Smoke curled over the ruins of what was once a human city. The night was thick with ash, and the broken skeletons of skyscrapers reached for the stars like burned fingers begging for forgiveness. The war between humans and the Thrillian Empire had lasted for 7 years now, and both sides were ghosts of what they once were. In the center of the rubble stood Kira, the alien fighter, her armor cracked, her energy blade flickering, her breathing ragged. The moons of Earth, too, shone faintly on her silver skin. Her eyes, once burning violet, were now dimmed with exhaustion. She whispered into the comm device on her wrist. "I'm tired, but I have to fight, until the last human falls." Her voice trembled not with fear, but with something that sounded dangerously close to grief. Chapter 1: The Weight of Victory. Kira had been bred for war. The Thrillians called her a Sunblade, a genetically perfected warrior designed to strike without emotion. From the age of 10, she was taught that humans were disease, a parasitic species that devoured planets, turning forests into factories and oceans into graves. And she believed it. She had burned cities. She had watched human ships collapse in fire. She had looked into the terrified eyes of children and told herself, "They are the enemy." But somewhere along the line, victory began to taste like dust. Kira trudged through the battlefield, her boots sinking in ash. Broken drones sparked weakly around her, and human banners fluttered half-buried in rubble. The war had taken everything, her comrades, her home, her faith. She touched the pendant around her neck, a small piece of crystal carved with her sister's name, Lyra. Lyra had died 2 years ago when a human bombing run hit the Thrillian transport fleet. Since then, Kira's rage had been endless. Every strike she made, every human she cut down, she told herself it was for Lyra. But now, standing among the ruins of yet another dead city, her heart no longer burned, just ached. Chapter 2: The Last Human. The signal came at dawn. Her commander's voice echoed in her earpiece. "Kira, mission confirmed. Only one human survivor in the southern ruins. Eliminate and report. The war ends tonight. One survivor. The last human." She didn't respond, just began walking south, her long coat fluttering behind her like a shadow. Hours later, she reached the edge of the city, a collapsed library, vines curling through shattered glass. Inside, faint light glimmered. And there he was, a young man, maybe 20, dirty and half-starved, sitting beside a small fire. His hands trembled as he scribbled something in a torn notebook. When Kira's silhouette appeared in the doorway, he froze and looked up. For a long moment, they just stared at each other. Predator and prey, alien and human, soldier and survivor. Chapter 3: The Human's Eyes. He didn't reach for a weapon. Instead, he stood slowly, dusted his coat, and spoke softly. "You found me, didn't you?" Kira said nothing. She raised her plasma rifle, the barrel humming with deadly energy. "You're going to kill me?" he asked, his voice calm. "That is the order," she replied coldly. He smiled faintly. "Then let me finish this sentence before you do." He turned back to the notebook. Kira watched as his hand moved shakily across the paper, sketching lines of poetry. He tore the page and held it out. "Take it," he said. "If I'm going to die, at least one of my words should survive." She hesitated. No human had ever spoken to her like that. Not with fear, not with hatred, but with quiet acceptance. She took the page. The poem read, "When the stars forget their light, and all our fires fade tonight, Remember, stranger of the skies, that mercy is what never dies. Kira felt something strange stir in her chest, something she hadn't felt since Lyra's laughter. Chapter 4: The Memory of Lyra. Her hands shook. The rifle wavered. Lyra's voice echoed in her mind, that soft, curious tone from their childhood before the war began. Kira, do you think humans really hate us? They must, she had replied. That's what the elders said. But how can you hate someone you've never met? Lyra never wanted war. She dreamed of peace, of stars shared between species. And yet she died because humans fought back. Now this man, this last human, looked at Kira with the same gentle eyes Lyra once had. Kira lowered the rifle. Why aren't you afraid? She asked. Because fear means there's still hope, he said. And I lost that a long time ago. She studied him. His face thin, eyes hollow yet still bright. The firelight flickered over his scars, each one a story of survival. What's your name? She asked. Elias. Elias, she repeated quietly. You should run. And go where? He smiled sadly. There's nowhere left to run. Chapter 5: The Enemy Within. Kira turned away, clutching the poem tightly. I was ordered to kill you, she said. Then do it, Elias whispered. It'll be a mercy. But she couldn't. Her finger refused to pull the trigger. Every instinct screamed that this was wrong, that this wasn't what Lyra would have wanted. For the first time in her life, Kira questioned the war. Who were they really fighting for? Who truly started this endless hatred? And if the last human was a poet writing about mercy, maybe everything she believed was a lie. Her calm crackled again. Kira. Report. Status of target. She turned off the device. Chapter 6: A Fragile Dawn. Days passed. Kira didn't kill him. Instead, she stayed in the ruins. They shared silence at first, then words. She fixed her broken armor while Elias told her stories of the old earth, of oceans that sparkled and skies without ships of war. He taught her to make tea using wild leaves. She taught him how to start a plasma fire safely. Something changed. Not love, not yet, but something more fragile, more dangerous. Understanding. Do you ever miss your home? Elias asked one night. I don't remember what home feels like, she replied. He looked up at the stars. Then maybe this is it, he said softly. The moment we stop fighting, maybe that's home. Chapter 7: The Hunter Arrives. On the fifth night, Kira woke to the sound of engines. A Thrillian dropship descended nearby, scattering ash in a storm. Her old commander, General Vorn, stepped out, towering, armored, ruthless. Kira, he bellowed. You disobeyed direct orders. She stood between him and Elias. He's unarmed. The war is over. There's no need. The war ends only when the last human dies, Vorn roared. Step aside, soldier. Elias whispered. Kira, don't, he'll kill you. Vorn raised his plasma cannon. Kira moved faster than thought, blocking the shot with her energy blade. Sparks lit the ruins. You've gone soft, Vorn spat. No, Kira said quietly, eyes blazing. I've finally seen the truth. Chapter 8: The Last Battle. They fought under the ruins of a shattered sky. Vorn's strikes were brutal, Kira's precise. The ground trembled with every blow. Plasma seared the air, melting metal, lighting shadows. Elias watched helplessly from behind the rubble. He wanted to run, but his legs wouldn't move. Vorn slammed Kira into a wall, cracking her armor. "You betray your own kind for a human." "I'm fighting for what my kind forgot," she gasped. She lunged, striking deep into his chest. For a moment time froze. Then Vorn's massive form collapsed, sparks fading from his armor. Kira dropped to her knees, trembling. Chapter 9: The Cost of Mercy. She turned to Elias. "It's over," she whispered. But then an explosion. The ship's core, destabilized from the fight, began to overload. Kira knew there was no time. She ran to Elias, grabbed his arm and pulled him toward the exit. "Go! You'll die if you stay," he shouted. "Someone has to contain the blast." She shoved him through a cracked tunnel leading out of the ruins. "Kira!" he screamed. She smiled faintly, the first true smile in years. "Tell them we didn't have to fight." Then the world exploded in white fire. Chapter 10: The Afterlight. Days later, human rescue ships, hidden survivors from distant colonies, returned to Earth too. Among the ruins, they found a silver pendant and a burnt notebook. Elias survived. He kept the pendant around his neck and the poem close to his heart. Years later, when peace was rebuilt between the new humans and the few surviving Thrillians, children would learn about Kira of the Sunblade, the alien who defied her orders to save one human life. And in the night sky, a new monument shone, two figures standing together, alien and human, carved in starlight. Epilogue. Elias often visited the ruins where it happened. One evening, as the sun sank red behind the mountains, he whispered into the quiet air. "You said you were tired, but you still fought, not to kill but to protect. You were wrong about one thing, Kira. Humanity didn't fall. It changed because of you." The wind stirred the ashes gently. Somewhere in the stars it felt like Kira was listening.